All right, the female reproductive cycle, a lot of physiology with this. Just staying with the same theme, going to just briefly cover the major portions of it. Menarche is actually the onset of the first menstrual cycle. So when it starts, a person in their teens. Menopause is where it ends, and that has to do with hormones dropping off. It varies person to person. Some people have early menopause, some have late. That kind of varies a little bit. Now, the stages of the menstrual cycle. So you have what's called the menstrual phase, which is actually the end of it, but because it's the easiest to mark, a lot of times it looks like it's the beginning of the whole cycle, but it's actually the end. The proliferative phase, where there's an increase in the size of the egg-containing follicles. And then there's a secretory phase after the egg has been ejected. So this is a great diagram. I'm going to use just this one here, that way, because I can make this one super big. And I'll just be very quick. This is something you can really see on your own. So what this is showing, here's follicle stimulating hormone, here's luteinizing hormone, and you can see here's day 1 through day 28. You can assume 30's right here. So in the initial part of the entire menstrual cycle, here's a primordial follicle. This is called the proliferative phase. See how it's increasing in size, and then it looks like almost in the center, you get a big spike in these hormones, and it actually causes ovulation. Ovulation is when the egg is released. Now, during this time, these are kind of flat line. You see they spike. Well, right here, the second part of this graph, this is estrogen and this is progesterone. You can see how during the menstrual cycle month, this is the end of it, called the menstrual phase. See how the lining of the uterus gets thicker as these levels build up? And the reason that happens is so if there is a pregnancy, the zygote can drop down into one of these glands and start growing into the wall. And this is a uterine gland, so if there was a fertilized egg, it would come along and drop down into one of these. So right in the middle, the egg gets ejected, and then after that, you get the formation of this corpus luteum, which luteinizing hormone causes that. And then you can see progesterone really rises during that time. So there's a period of about 12 days, 12 to 14 days, where these levels stay high, and then at day 28, if there is no fertilization, in other words, no pregnancy, these levels drop off, which would mean these layers are going to be shed, and then these layers kind of stay the same, but this corpus luteum starts to diminish, which causes these levels to fall. And that's the entire cycle, and then it would start all over again. Now, to get back to a normal size, if there is a fertilization, then the corpus luteum will maintain the lining of that for a while, and then what happens is the developing embryo actually can take care of itself, and the developing embryo produces a hormone called HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, and that maintains the uterine lining during pregnancy, so the fetus can take care of itself. HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, is actually the hormone that is tested for in a pregnancy. If fertilization does not occur, after a couple of weeks, the corpus luteum degenerates and the levels of the hormones fall off, and then the lining of the uterus is shed. Just a little bit about mammary glands. Now, they are part of reproductive anatomy. So these are the mammary glands. These are the lactiferous ducts. The nipple is the opening to the outside, and the areola is the area around that. When following childbirth, prolactin causes these to produce milk. And during puberty, these increase in size. During pregnancy, they double in size at times. And then oxytocin actually makes milk be ejected from those glands. So just a couple of things. They are found on the subcutaneous level. They do produce milk, and the nipple leads to the outside. At puberty, the ovarian hormones will cause those glands to increase in size. This is may double in size during pregnancy. And then following childbirth and the removal of the placenta, the prolactin causes milk production in those. Okay, last part. I don't know why that's there. Can't really cover reproduction without talking about some basic birth control. And you can read these on your own. Coitus interruptus, removal of the penis from vagina before ejaculation. I'll try to see if I can post a study. There was a study done, and that's about a 74% effective rate. So in other words, 26% chance it's not going to work. The rhythm method is abstaining from intercourse a few days before or after ovulation. I didn't mention this yet, but a female egg cell only lasts 24 hours after it's released. That's a textbook. Sperm can stay alive about 72 hours inside the female reproductive system. So there's only a window of time after this that a person can possibly get pregnant. If there's no egg, there's no possibility for pregnancy. So that's what the rhythm method is abstaining before and after ovulation. And of course, you have to monitor a person's body temp for that. Mechanical barriers, sperm. Let me go a little further here. Sperm. There are condoms, male and female versions of condoms. And somewhere at the end of our PowerPoint, sorry, I should already had this pulled up. Let's see. Well, infertility. Okay, well, there we are. That's a diaphragm. There are condoms, so mechanical barriers. A diaphragm's cup-shaped structure, once inserted, it prevents the entrance into the cervix. Chemical barriers, creams, foams, jellies, they're acidic, so sperm will not swim or survive in acidity. Oral contraceptives would be the pill, synthetic progesterone. Those actually have about a 94% effective rate. Intrauterine devices, little capsules put underneath the skin. Those actually have an even higher rate, like 98% effective. IUDs, an intrauterine device, which is that right there with the string inserted into the uterus. It's there to prevent implantation of the zygote. You also have some of those that release hormones as well, and spermicide. And then surgical methods are vasectomy and a tubal ligation. And this shows there's a vasectomy. These cords are cut. Remember, they go around to the back of the bladder. And if that's cut, then sperm cannot make the journey around. I don't know how that's not 100%. I saw in a study it's 99.6%. It's not 100%, but if that tube is cut, there's no way for sperm who are in the epididymis to get around to the prostate. And this is a tubal ligation. Now this is showing being tied. They cauterize is when they're burned. There are the ovaries, and so yeah, the egg's being released. Not only can the egg not get down to the uterus, but sperm could not go up through the uterus and then reach the egg, because they're cut. So those are the most effective forms besides abstinence and laughter. So, all right, that's all of our covering of the reproductive process. Thanks for joining me.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.